Alive on the Moon, Sorrow, it's on the Pen Alive, with your host Dave Knapp.
Thank you, Clap Track, and happy New Year's Eve. Welcome to this fun little live stream we've got going here. We're going to take you into the new year. It is so good to be with you. If you are enjoying your New Year's Eve, put party in the chat. Let me know from you. Welcome. Happy New Year's Eve to you all. I wanted to jump on because I had some bandwidth this evening to spend a little time with you all. And I thought for the year of 2024, there is no group of people that I would rather ring this new year in. We have been through so stinking much this year together on this journey on the pen. We're going to talk a little bit about some highlights of the year, some lowlights of the year. We're going to just kind of reminisce together. And like I said, I can't wait to do it with you. I didn't have this one planned because this it's just how it goes. When you're a father of 4 kids, you never know when you're going to have a pocket of time, especially on a New Year's Eve. And so I'm super excited to be spending it with you all tonight. Wife is hanging with some family that's in town. over at her parents, and I got the kids to bed, and here we are. So it's so good to be with you. I just want to say a special shout out to the members in the chat. Adrian, welcome. Good to have you here. Thank you for your videos promoting OTP lately over on Instagram. Thank you for that. Adrian will be a guest here on the pen here in the next couple of weeks. Adrian was on The Biggest Loser. So Adrian, you should check her content out. Very interesting content. Of course, Sabrina, such a pleasure to have you here. Mimi, some OTP vets in the house. Welcome to Laura as well. I see you, Mindy, Spoonie. We got a great group of people. DJ, thank you for those of you who are members. That keeps this channel going. If you're like, what's a member? Like, what is that? How does it work? Well, yeah, for just a couple dollars a month, you can become a member. The link is typically in the description below on YouTube. But for $2.99 a month, you can become a member and enjoy exclusive content, early access to select videos, custom emojis, and a whole bunch more. And it just helps to support the work that we do here at On the Pen. So thank you for those who are members. You really prop up what we do here at On the Pen. So like I said, wanted to recap this year with you all, because this was such a monumental year in the OTP world. Spoonie just gifted 5 On the Pen memberships. That is so kind of you, Spoonie. Thank you for doing that. Another seasoned OTP alum. If you didn't catch Spoonie's On the Pen Live, which is a show we do every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Central, you really ought to check that out. It was a great episode. Spoonie's been through a lot, and GLP-1s have helped to really change her life in a pretty meaningful way. And so it's good to have you here, Spoonie. Thank you for gifting the memberships tonight. But I wanted to just reminisce a little bit about the year that we've had, because it has been just an incredible year. And I was spending a good bit of time reminiscing today about the past year, and just sort of going through, making some notes about what we went through this year, and sort of what shaped the news in GLP-1 this year. And it was just a fascinating sort of exercise to go through and just see what all happened this year. It was actually quite remarkable to think about all the things that happened throughout this year. So we're going to get into it. I also asked the members of the community here what some of their favorite moments were. So we'll get into that as well. If you have a favorite moment that you can think of, drop it in the comments of the video here. I would love to hear from you. Also hit that thumbs up button. That just helps other people see the stream. Of course, probably a lot of people are out and about, hitting the town, hanging with friends, hanging with family, but I wanted to jump on here for those of you who maybe were at home hanging out with kids to bed and all that. So let's get into it. As I was reminiscing about this year, of course, Release the Vials. It's hard to acknowledge anything about this year without acknowledging Release the Vials. So that was a campaign that I started back in March of this year, really. And it was really about initially releasing the Mounjaro vials. The Mounjaro vials had been approved for about a year. And we started a campaign to release the vials because the shortages were so bad for those on branded medication. It was so hard to find. And so the Release the Vials movement really blew up and became, a movement within the GLP-1 community, and became the central focus of the On the Pen content from this year, from those early days in March and April. And then, of course, it all culminated with a phone call with Eli Lilly CEO Dave Ricks towards the second half of the year, and their partial rollout of Zepbound vials. And so I want to get into the impact of that, but I also want to acknowledge those hanging out in the chat. DJ said that the Wegovy commercial was a highlight for her. DJ, that was one of my favorite moments this year too. Low key, the spoof video of the Wegovy commercial was one of my favorite things that we did. In fact, I wonder if I can pull that up here and we could watch it together. The Wegovy, I did a Wegovy and I did a Mounjaro one, although I'm not sure that I ever put the Mounjaro one actually on this channel here or not. I definitely put it on TikTok, but let's see here if I can find it real quick. Sabrina wants to know what the number one thing that I learned this year. I think that's going to be a very hard thing to pin down, because I learned so stinking much this year. But I won't answer. I will give you an answer. I think the biggest one that comes to mind right away is with the Release the Vials campaign, and how willing people were to advocate for something that everyone believed in. What I learned, which was probably somewhere in my mind, but it had to be uncovered. I had to see it to believe it. Is that the community of people who have lived with obesity are really the antithesis of everything that culture and society has made us out to be. And what I mean by that is, for so long, culture has viewed people living with obesity as lazy, as incapable of hard work, as incapable of discipline. And what I have realized from this community is that because we have spent our whole life efforting to defeat something that really was kind of like running in a hamster wheel for many of us with the disease of obesity, trying everything, doing everything, white knuckling everything, and never even actually seeing a whole lot of reward for the effort that we put in. We are uniquely conditioned to work extremely hard, perhaps harder than almost anybody, because of our unique experience trying to fight a disease where our biology is working against us. And the Release the Vials campaign really showed me that this community has a fortitude, a desire, and a drive when we put our minds to something collectively, like no other community out there. And so I think, to me, that was the biggest lesson. And that's really sort of sets the stage for 2025, because I think we saw with the Release the Vials, it was a small win. It was an incomplete win. We want Eli Lilly to release all the vials. We want Eli Lilly to release the vials in a manner that is affordable and accessible for more people than it currently is. So it's an incomplete win, but it was a win, and it was a huge accomplishment from this community. And it sort of sets the stage for 2025, because in 2025, I think it is extremely imperative that we be advocating for Eli Lilly to release all the vials. So they need to release all the vials and all the dosages, and they need to ensure that pricing remains accessible, particularly for those higher doses. So it's not enough for them to release the vials and then to charge $1,000 for them. They need to release the vials, and it needs to be comparable for what people are paying on compounds, which Eli Lilly has moved mountains to try to get rid of. So unless they do anything short of that, I think will be a major missed opportunity for Eli Lilly to do the right thing. So the fight isn't over with Release the Vials. We need to focus in 2025 on release all the vials, because the fight isn't over until every patient has access to what they need. On that, in that sort of same vein, I think we need to advocate for more drug shortage transparency. I think this was something that I highlighted towards the end of the year here too, probably around November time, when we learned that there was going to be a new administration. Learned that there was going to be some new people in charge. I think one of the things that we need to be advocating for is that we need some transparency from big pharma in the reporting of shortages. So that we need the FDA to improve how they communicate what information that they're getting, how they're getting it. And we've put together at onthepen.com actually a blog article about this from today. So if you go to today's blog article, if you're signed up for email alerts, I shot an email out about it, but it's linked in there. We put a policy for the people, which is a website put up by RFK Jr. for a policy change. And I would think specifically related to healthcare, since that's what he will kind of be overseeing. But we need more transparency in the drug shortage program. It's a complete mess. So we'll be advocating for that as well at On the Pen. The other thing that we've talked about more recently is Operation Warp Speed for obesity. We need an Operation Warp Speed 2.0 for obesity. And I don't have all the answers as to what that looks like. But what I do know is that we need to advocate for a whole of government approach to defeating the disease of obesity. And it needs to be taken every bit as seriously as the coronavirus was. And what I mean is, obesity is killing more people. It's robbing more people of their lives than COVID ever will. And it has historically robbed more people of the complete full lives, healthy lives, and of their lives ultimately because of the comorbidities, the cancers, the heart disease, all the horrible things associated with the disease of obesity. And our government needs a whole of government approach like Operation Warp Speed. There needs to be public-private partnerships. There needs to be tax incentives. There needs to be subsidizing of various programs to make sure that people have access to these medications. And finally, we need to make sure that Medicare and Medicaid allow access to GLP-1s to treat obesity universally. And, I think these are the things that we'll be strongly advocating for in 2025. So I think, Sabrina, back to your question, what I learned in 2025 or 2024 is that this community is capable of leading change. And we're going to do that in 2025, but we're going to be a lot more specific because, again, we saw a little minor incomplete victory with Release the Vials, but all it really did was shine a light on all the other things that need our attention and our focus. And so these are some of the things that we're going to be head down focused on in 2025. And I can't do it without you. So one of the things that I would ask you to do, if you're watching here and you're new here, make sure you subscribe to this channel. That's the first thing you need to do. You need to hit the bell notification to get notified when we go live, when we do videos. And then I need you to go to onthepen.com and just scroll to the bottom of the page and sign up for email alerts, because the emails are the lifeline to policy change, to anything that we do that requires mobilization and advocacy. So if we're not going to, or if we are going to rather band together and pool our resources and really positively affect change, we have to have a rallying point that doesn't rely on a social media platform. We have to have a line to communication, because one of the things that we saw this year, kind of going back to my year in review, one of the things that I highlighted was, that we overcame massive censorship this year from On the Pen. Like a lot of creators came onto the scene new this year, and perhaps have not experienced this, but we faced massive TikTok and Facebook censorship this year. TikTok throttled and delisted a lot of the advocacy videos that I was doing in the springtime and early on into the summertime. Facebook actually deactivated my Facebook group of over 20,000 people who are on the pen. And really we overcame it, and so much so that our story was actually highlighted in a couple major news publications like Seeking Alpha and Business Insider, who really took the reins and highlighted and got some of our quotes in on that. And so I think that I think that it is an incredibly important thing to not rely on these social media platforms to have our voices be heard. We have to stay communicated and united. And I really believe that the email list is the best way right now to do that until we can grow big enough to create perhaps our own platform or something a little bit more engaging. But for now, it's the email list. So go to onthepen.com, sign up for email alerts at the bottom of any page. And that's going to be the best way to make sure that we can advocate for these things together. Moving forward, Kimberly said, this year I learned what obesity is and what the struggles are for those living with the disease. I am on this medication for type 2 and knew nothing about obesity or that it was even a disease. Kimberly, thank you for sharing that. As a fellow type 2 diabetic person, I have learned so much over the last couple of years, and we've done it in the confines of this community. So it is great to have you here, and thank you for sharing. Pepper says, yes, I think it's coming thanks to your leadership. Thank you. I'm just happy to play a small part in advocacy and in moving the needle, because I think together, this isn't about a single person. This isn't about it's not even about On the Pen. It's about the community of people living with obesity and what we can do when we band together and pool our resources and pool our voices. And I think that we're going to make some major impact. I'm just, what I'm waiting for this year. And listen, I'm dreaming big this year, because some of the things that happened this past year, like just think about the things that happened this past year. On the Pen was featured in Fortune magazine. Fortune magazine, the #1 magazine in the world for covering business, did an expose on how Eli Lilly became the ninth most valuable company in the world. And guess what was listed right in this article? If you missed it earlier this year, is a whole write-up of On the Pen. In March, Dave Knapp, a marketing professional and father of 4 beautiful children, they forgot to say, and husband of 1 beautiful woman, put out a plea to Eli Lilly to release the Vials, and they cover how important the On the Pen community was in that. And so, like, I couldn't have imagined this happening. We released a book available at Amazon right now that is designed for you to pass this off to the people in your life that are naysayers, that have bought into the narrative. This is a narrative combating Bible. This is what this is. It's a narrative combating Bible. It's not a guide for friends and family on the pen. It's really a narrative combating Bible that you can pass off to people who are really, really just confused about what these medications are. We launched a book. We were featured in Fortune magazine. I talked to the CEO of the 9th largest company in the world. We can do this. We can do this, friends. And so I just think it's amazing what the community can do when we all are kind of working together and pushing in the same direction. So amazing. And so, as Sabrina said, glpbook.com. Yeah, that's the best place to go to get it. Just go to type into your browser, glpbook.com. So, oh yeah, and the podcast award. Thank you for the reminder. Yeah, the Iowa Podcast Award that you see behind me here. We got the Iowa Podcast Award, the Viewers' Choice Award. That was huge. And so I just think, we overcame a lot. I mean, like, Fortune wasn't the only one. We were featured in Bloomberg. I got to go on Yahoo Finance. The community has grown across the platforms to over 100,000 people between TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. We're over 100,000 people strong, right? And we only have about 3,000 of you on our email list. So I cannot say that enough. You got to jump over to onthepen.com, and just literally, it's going to take you 2 minutes, but it'll be the best 2 minutes that you spent today investing in the future, because you're going to stay connected to all the news that happens throughout 2025 and all the advocacy efforts that are to come, because we're going to be doing some stuff this year. And when I started this thought out, I'm aiming high in 2025. Listen, we will. The On the Pen community will have the ear of the incoming administration. We will get the ear of the incoming administration one way, some way, somehow. I firmly believe it, that we will at some point be sitting at a round table with some major decision makers in this country, and we will have an impact and be able to speak into the policy that is made in this country. I firmly believe it. I'm just waiting for the right person to come along, to see the content, to believe in what we're doing, who knows the right people. And that's going to happen this year. That is, if I'm to make one prediction about this year, is that On the Pen and the community herein is going to have a say in how the future of obesity medicine is shaped. And I cannot wait for that, because I believe that with God, all things are possible. And I think that with this community, we can do it. We can do it. And so I'm dreaming very big for On the Pen in 2025. No more small dreams. We're going to really make some things move this year. What a year for you in the community. Release all the vials. Let's go. That's right, Nancy. Steven came across my podcast when he was researching GLPs. He was on the fence about taking them all from the BS that was coming from the media, and finally decided. Steven, that's amazing. Thank you for being here, Steven. It's a pleasure to be here with you and to have you as part of our community. So thank you for joining us. Happy New Year to you, Melissa. DJ said, everybody check out Dave's policy suggestion on policies for the people. Yeah, that is linked there in that article that we dropped today. PBM reform. Absolutely, Laura. I think we got a great shot at it. I've never heard a president talk about getting rid of PBMs before. So, hopefully that really does happen. Steven said to start, thanks to all the knowledge from you and your guests. Well, thank you, Steven. Thank you for being here. Without any of you, this really doesn't happen. One of the things that I say in just about every single live stream that I do, and I say it not because it's a platitude, I say it because it's on my heart, and it's on my heart literally every time I hit go live on whatever platform I'm on. It's that you are the best part of what we do here at On the Pen. You. Without you, this is just an echo chamber. It's like yelling into a dark hallway. It just kind of echoes back to you. What this does is just empowers other people to become advocates in their own corner of the world, advocates wherever you are, with whoever you are. And it's about empowerment, and it's about really moving the needle forward in this fight to really what we're hoping to do is to eradicate obesity. And for the first time in my life, there are treatments that seem like that could be a possibility within my lifetime. To think that my children who are genetically predisposed to both obesity and type 2 diabetes, because of their genetics, that they may have a fighting shot at not living a life with type 2 diabetes or obesity. And to think there's just so much more knowledge out there. There's so much more treatment out there. And so I'm super excited for the future here. I do want to go back to the Wegovy commercial because I think it would just be fun to watch. So let's watch this together, shall we?
Man, screw this haircut. I'm leading a revolt. I'm marching to the gates of Novo Nordisk. Enjoy your heifer haircut, lady. I'm out.
Man, I called 35 different pharmacies, and then I drove 46 miles just to find my Wegovy.
In the time it took me to paint this picture, 1,000 people lost their prior authorizations.
Well, boy, it's official. I'm plugged up worse than this carburetor. I haven't crapped for a week thanks to my once-weekly Wegovy.
Yeah, about me and 10,000 of my chubbiest friends are marching to the gates of Novo Nordisk. Come on, guys. We're gonna get our medicine, finally.
You know what? Screw it. I'm not waiting for one more prior authorization. I'm going straight to the source.
Well, son, I can't wait one more minute. That Mag 07's kicking in, and I'm gonna go drop it like it's hot in the lobby bathroom of the Novo Nordisk headquarters.
We are marching to Novo Nordisk. Who's coming with?
Classic. I probably spent more time on that than I want to admit, changing the voices up and everything. But that was one of the most fun videos. I think I've said it before. It was like low key. I think my favorite content that I've actually made as a content creator. I did one for Manjaro at 1.2, but it wasn't quite as funny. But the Manjaro one gave me the inspiration to do that one for Wegovy. And every time I see that commercial come on, I like want to turn to the person in the room, like, I spoofed that one and it was hilarious, right? They don't care. They don't care, Dave. Happy New Year, Buster. Good to have you here. Good to see you. And we are just a few minutes away now, 6 minutes away from 2025 for those of you on the East Coast. How you doing? Who's excited for 2025? I want to hear for 2025, what are you most excited about? Where you see things going? I mean, again, we saw some great things happen this year at On the Pen and within the community. I think there was expanded accessibility to GLP-1s in 2024. What is everyone seeing for 2025? DJ thinks of the spoof every time she sees the commercial. That's amazing. But what are you all seeing for 2025? Because I'm bullish. And I've said this many times, I'm bullish about accessibility in 2025, even with all the things that are sort of facing us right now, that look bleak, that look grim, that look like they could affect accessibility in a really negative way. I just believe too much in this community. I believe too much in how the journey of obesity forges character in people and forges, grit and determination in this community. And I think it may be some of the most underestimated traits in any group of people out there. I just really think that we have had such a unique experience living with and fighting a disease of obesity without the knowledge and science that exists today. And we just know how to fight. We know how to like grit down. And so I think even if we get bad news on January 2nd, and they don't put a stay on compounds, I'm still bullish for the rest of the year, whether we do it through political means or whether ultimately the OFA fights and wins. How we come along as a community and support their efforts, I think, is a big part of that. But whatever that looks like, we're going to do it. We're going to do it together as a community. I'm so super excited to do it. And so I'm bullish. I think it's going to be a great year. Going back to a post that I put up in the community post, I asked folks to share, some of their highlights from this year from the channel. Rick Attitude Dude said, Dr. Chang interview, I really enjoyed. She seemed empathetic, and he liked how empathetic she seemed towards people. And I couldn't agree more. Dr. Chang is somebody who I did actually get to meet in person. If you missed that On the Pen episode, we not only did an interview with her a few months back, but we got to interview her in person at Obesity Week. And so I got to meet her, shake her hand, and meet her, give her a hug. Actually, she gave me a big hug when she saw me. She's like, I feel like I know you. I was like, I know, it's so crazy. I can't tell you how many hugs I gave out to people at Obesity Week. It was a wonderful experience. That alone was such a highlight for the year. Mimi says it's 3 p.m. on Wednesday here. So the first of the year, nothing to report. But it's good to see you. She said this is the first year of not losing weight as a New Year's resolution. Who else is in the same boat with Mimi? That's amazing. Sabrina says she's excited to see everyone thrive and reach their goals. I love that. Mindy said for 2025, she's hopeful to see GLP-1 usage normalized. Amen. Like other drugs and like cholesterol meds or blood pressure medications. 100% agree. DJ said God is on the throne and he proves it every day. Amen. Amen. Taryn said, you're on point discussions about the issues with the FDA and OFA and compound terzepatide. Listen, I think low key December was the best month for On the Pen, just in terms of what we provided to the community. Honestly, looking back at December, it was remarkable. All of the things that we accomplished, because so much of our focus from October through the end of the year was on what is going on with the Outsourcing Facilities Association, the trial with the FDA. Nobody covered it closer in the world than On the Pen did. Nobody covered it closer. And we actually got the attorney that's representing the Outsourcing Facilities Association in that compound terzepatide trial with the FDA. The attorney came on the Pen and interviewed for like 20 minutes, and we got to ask him a lot of amazing questions. Obviously, their read on what was going to happen on December 19th was not spot on, but that was a fascinating episode, and I hope that you will check that out. And it looks like we're getting very close, just a few seconds away to the new year on the East Coast. So if you are an East Coaster, in just a few seconds, we will be celebrating a happy new year with you. We're still in Central Time here, Central Time Zone. I'm from Iowa, if y'all didn't know. But December was low key, I think, one of the most amazing months in On the Pen. I just want to recap. Novo announced their single chamber CagriSema pen. We were all over that in a way that no one else on the whole internet was. I mean, we were all over that. We found a trial the day it dropped. It was amazing. December 11th was when the Outsourcing Facilities Association legal counsel joined On the Pen for that interview. So check that out. Happy New Year to our friends on the East Coast. It is officially midnight on the East Coast. Happy New Year to those of you who are on the East Coast. What a blessings over all of you in this 2025. I can't wait to do it together. If you're new here, drop an N in the chat next to your name. Let me know that you're new here, and then hit the subscribe button so you can join this amazing community. December 19th, the FDA officially removed Mounjaro and Zepbound from the shortage list. On the 20th, the FDA approved Zepbound for obstructive sleep apnea. Like, this is getting really close to Christmas. It was very difficult to cover all this, but we stayed on top of it. December 23rd was the second manufacturer was approved for liraglutide, generic liraglutide. And I think we'll have generic Saxenda and Victoza for cash pay price of around $200 this year. So that's a great thing for accessibility in 2025. And then on December 27th, here at On the Pen, we called on the Trump administration. You know, this is the first call of many that I hope turns into something amazing for Operation Warp Speed 2.0 for obesity. And I hope that our calls are heard. I am sending things out every day to try to make an impact there. If you know someone or can put us in touch with somebody or put our content in front of the right person, please help us advocate in that way. Sabrina can't stay tonight, but wanted to wish every single one of you a happy new year. Sending love to everyone, sending love right back to you, Sabrina. Thank you for being one of the most amazing parts of this On the Pen community. We so appreciate you. And I'm not going to hang out for too much longer either. I just wanted to bring the New Year's in with those of you on the East Coast, and a friendly reminder that we accomplished so much together this year, so much to be excited about, So much to be thankful for. And at the top of my list is each and every one of you here at On the Pen. Thank you for being the best part of what we do here at On the Pen. Go check out the article from today. Please sign up for email alerts. Email alerts are going to be the backbone of accomplishing anything meaningful in 2025. So I need you to commit to doing that. If you're already signed up for emails, or if you're going to sign up for emails, drop the word email in the chat. We'll be back to our regularly scheduled programming on Thursday Night Live tonight, this week, where we'll announce some giveaways that you all have been waiting for. Super excited for that. And we're going to just hit the ground running here in 2025. Can't do it without you. Happy New Year to those of you on the East Coast, to those of you in the Central Time Zone and the West Coast. A early Happy New Year to you all. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being the best part of what we do it On the Pen. Until Thursday night, y'all.